announce to everyone that we will be needing to have a class governor. Every class has a governor. What the class governor does is basically act as the rep of the class. Whoever becomes the class governor will also play a role in the alumni council. Of course, if he goes through the program and passes all his exams as well, right? So becomes a member of the alumni council, where we are going to be organizing industry events, professional engagements, social gathering, and all the rest that will help us to advance our careers in facility management. The alumni is growing quite a bit. After this class, we should be talking about 500 plus alumni members. So it's going to be a formidable force in the FM industry in Africa. And so we want you to send in nominations for class governor. You can send in yourself, your name. All I just need is a name and a surname of someone who is a member of this class. And it could be your name, it could be someone else's name. But I'm going to give the whole of this week. Today is Friday, and Monday and Wednesday's class. So by the close of Wednesday's class next week, I will do a collation. All you need to do is just send the name to the official number 080-220-20122. I'm sure most of you know this number already, 080-220-20122. Madam Barakat, can you please put that number on the chat, the official number on WhatsApp, 080-220-20122. And then so that we can have you just chat me up and say, my name is, I nominate, right? So it's either my name is, I nominate, put your name again, or my name is, I nominate, put someone else's name, okay? We're going to tally according to the frequency of how names come on board, okay? And then you'll be announced as the class governor, okay? All right, any question about that? Okay, yes, the phone number is there, 080-220-20122. That's the official phone number for WhatsApp chats. I will be monitoring the number personally, and I'll be tallying as your nominations come in, okay? Your class will qualify for a governor and an assistant. Any class where we have 50 and above, we normally will have 2 class governors, the governor and the assistant or deputy. All right, so getting into today's business, the second thing we need to discuss is our takeaways from the Wednesday's class. We need
Lucy, what did you delete from the chat?
At least 5 to 7 people to give us their key, most significant takeaways from Wednesday's class. You also need to complete a survey on the portal for the class as well. Barakat, is the survey up as well, not just the assessments?
Not yet, sir.
Not yet? Oh, wow.
Yes, sir.
Please, let's do that quickly. There's going to be a survey for every class. So we want to hear what's your key lessons learned, where we want to hear how the class went, your experience in the class, what do you think we can do to improve on that particular class, and how the facilitator performed on the class. We need to be able to hear from you in a dynamic fashion to make the program better and better for every new batch. So don't say because a change may not affect your class for that particular course, you won't make it. Please make it very important. And again, it might be relevant for other classes you'll be participating in, okay? All right. So takeaways, let's see your hands up. As you have, I believe you have reviewed your notes. You're going to tell me what one key takeaway is going to be just about 30 seconds. I can let everybody speak. I'm going to do this in just 15 minutes, so I can let everybody speak. So pop your hand up on the Zoom app. Let's see your takeaways from the last class. Please, if I acknowledge you to speak, you need to have your video up. We need to get to know ourselves better and better with each class. I'm going to ask Yogo to speak now, but everybody will speak. So I'll just call your name randomly when he's done. If you don't pop your hands up, okay? Go ahead, please. You're muted.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
So my major takeaway in our last session's class was when somebody asked a question, which now required you to talk briefly about the deferred maintenance log. That was like a key, it was like a key lesson I had last session, where you were talking about the ability to be able to note down issues that are happening that has to do with maintenance. And then you know down the issue, know down the location, the time of the detection, and then you also include the status. So the status now has multiple columns. So you have status that's at so date, status at so date, and then you now talk about. So if it's done, you said done. If there has been a delay, you said delay, probably due to lack of money not being issued, or delayed it to other reasons. So that way, the law is to your director or your peer on a weekly basis. That way, when issues comes up, there can be a perfect way to so that you don't implicate the accountant or someone else, and then you also excuse yourself from the issue.
Super, thank you. That was fantastic. Excellent. Yeah. All right, Nduka, let's hear from you. Take away from last class.
For me, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
For me, I think I was really opened up to a lot of ideas as regards to what I formally brought into the lecture, whereby I'm now gotten to understand that there's more we as an FM we need to do, not actually leveling up on the fact that we need to relax on the fact that things are not working well, but we still need to own up to the fact that we need to do more to make sure that everything is, at least most especially everything is being carried along. Because the example I brought on board as regards to the street lighting, I really went back and made some findings, and I discovered that there will have been more that I would have done than what's actually, so it opened me up to a lot. That's, I think, what I really took away from the meeting.
Super.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ndika. Fantastic. I like that. Daniel, let's hear from you. Daniel, you're muted.
Hi, good evening, sir.
Good evening, welcome.
Yes, I really appreciate your effort towards the last class. I really gained a lot, to be honest. My question is in respect of service level agreement. Like, I want to ask and want to be really sure, is it legally binded during the service level agreement?
It's a contract. It's legally binding. It's contract.
Secondly, because not everybody, in many cases, do legally bind the contract. So in a situation whereby it is maybe oral, due to maybe relationship involved, like I know you too well, you can't disappoint me, and there's now breach of contract between both parties. How can we handle such relationship?
Don't have any contracts verbally or orally. As much as possible, write down your contracts, write down your agreements. You know, for something as simple as somebody coming to do a small plumbing work in your site, and you say, I want the pipe to be 3/4 pipe. I want you to use 5 feet of that 3/4 pipe to run it from point A to point B. You know what? Write it down, get the technician or whoever you're assigning that job to, even if it's on a plain sheet of paper, write his name and sign under it to say, I understand. That's a contract. That's as simple as you can get. Now, but in terms of law, all verbal agreements are verbal. But the problem with verbal and oral agreements is the law will expect that you have a witness, right? There have to be 2 witnesses that will say in the law courts that we were there. They both had the same understanding and they had an agreement, right? So that's why we even though it is legally binding when it is oral, we don't use oral agreements for FM. Every contract has to be written down, and you don't need a lawyer to make a contract. If I write down something, I sign and you agree and you sign, it has become a legally binding contract. That's what SLAs are. Okay.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Michael.
When I was coming to this facility management course, despite the fact that I work in the maintenance, I was thinking it is only facility management is all about maintenance. But with the last course, I've discovered that facility management is not only maintenance as we used to think. There is more than maintenance. It's more than maintenance. Is even times 2 of what I think it is. So
Actually times 22.
Times 22 of what I was thinking. So I'm opening my mind to learn more from this management course, because since maintenance supervisor, so I want to learn more.
Thank you. You're welcome. All right. Temitakwe.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, thank you so much. My takeaway on the last class is on complying to HLC. I must say the truth, before this lesson, before this class, I used to see HLC as my enemy. Seriously, they make the work difficult for me. Like, you want to quickly do something, HLC is there, you can't do it this way. In fact, there was a particular cleaning project I was doing, almost at concluding it. So one of my guys messed up actually, then the head of HLC saw me and it became a big problem. But thank God, nobody gets injured. So before that last lesson, I used to see them like, these people, HLC, voila, too much or that. But after that last class, I now see that as a facility person, the part of people that will make you a successful person is actually HLC. And I thank you. I thank the Max-Migold for the opportunity.
Thank you, Temitope. And let me be very categorical about HLC. HLC is the responsibility of facility management. I hope we can all get it. The people who we call HLC in our companies today, they are advisors. They are like legislators. They are not executives of HLC. Every time they do any piece of work, what do? They pass it to us to implement, isn't it? Yeah. And then when they watch us, they guide us and tell us, hey, this is not right, this is not right, this is the procedure for doing this and that. We are supposed to be the masters of HLC. We are responsible for everybody's welfare. The HLC guy is not the one responsible for people's welfare on site. If anybody gets injured, it's not the HLC's guy's fault. It is the facility manager's fault. So let's get that into our head so that we rework the way we think HLC. There was a company I worked with and they had so many HLC staff. They called them hunters. They would if you guys can own your jobs, these hunters will stop their crew will reduce until the company will see no need to employ more hunters. Facility managers should do the inspections, pick up all the HSE issues, deal with them as the owners so that you don't get people breathing down your necks for HSE. HSE is your job. The teams you have on ground as HSE are supposed to be advisors to you, counselors to you, not implementers of HSE, okay? There's a very robust HSE program you're going to get on this course, so let's hang on for that. Patrick, please, go ahead.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My major takeaway was when you made mention of the timeline. As a facility manager, we always have to know the timeline it will take for you to complete a job, and if you're unable to complete it within that specified time frame, you can always do a follow-up by sending mails to your residents that, oh, we weren't able to finish by this time. Can you give us additional?
Let me correct you. We won't be able to finish it as earlier promised, not after it's passed. You now say we weren't able to. Are we together? You cannot wait until it has passed to now give a past tense to say we weren't able to. We are sorry. No. You tell them we're supposed to finish it in 2 hours time, but it's likely we may not be able to. That's better. Aha.
Okay. Okay. And then secondly, you also made mention of facility managers being jack of all trades and master of all.
Fantastic, yes.
So those were the two takeaways.
Yes, super. And there are very many ways you have to be masters of all. You should be able to read a building drawing and understand what the plan is saying. You should be able to take a manual of a machine and understand what it's saying. You should be able to look at a recipe for a goosey soup and say, yes, this is what the ingredients are, so that the caterer knows, exactly what we are expecting. You should be able to look at grass and say, is this 2 inches in height, right? Is it green to the expectation that we have of this green grass and so on? That's exactly the level of mastery we're talking about. You are not a specialist, but a master. You must be able to specify the work to be done, find the resource to do it, who is the specialist, supervise his work, appraise his work, and pay him a good wage for his work done. Thank you, Patrick. Barry Kuma, please go ahead.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
What I learned from the last class is about the different levels, about the proactive level, the request level, the complaint level. And I also found that most of the time, I always operated in the request level because I felt it was the client or the staff they're meant to come and report and say, oh, something is bad in my unit or my office. The door needs repair, the toilet is not flushing well. So I always leave.
You're muted.
The last class. Okay. I'm not muted. After the last class, I learned that I am the one to know first before they know about it.
Fantastic.
But if they come to report to me, then I have not done my work as the maintenance officer.
Super. Fantastic. I love that. Thank you so much. Being proactive. That is our top game. Okay. That's our top game. All right. So let's see. I want 2 more.
That was actually the point where someone asked a question regarding the service classification. That's the hard services and the soft services. And you gave proper light, you threw more light on what the soft services is or are. And I just understood that, okay, anything that you're bringing into the built environment, that's the property, to enhance the usage of that very property is what the soft services are. And every other thing that is built together with the property makes up the hard services. I think that's one. And secondly, the service level agreements is another part that also I read through, and I also discovered too that it's not just about what you're giving to the end user as a service provider. It's about meeting the expectation of the end user as a service provider. Those are 2 takeaways.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, let me just accommodate Theophilus. Go ahead, please. Theophilus, you'll be the last person to comment on the takeaways from the last class. Quickly, 30 seconds. Theophilus Abiodun, are you there? Okay, so. All right, I'm going to share my screen and get right into today's class. All right, the preambles are quite understood. I expect that we will be able to maintain our mics on mute. When the main presentation is going on, we are free to put off our videos, but when the conversation starts, you know, at the beginning and at the end of the program, we need to put back on our videos. I cannot overemphasize this. This is a community we're building. If you stay in this class continuously for from beginning to the end without turning on your videos, you would have lost out a huge deal on the networking that this class provides, right? So we won't say because we're in a virtual environment, we will not get to meet ourselves, okay? All right. I want to look at the competencies of facility management in today's class. We're going to look at careers and job opportunities and different type of jobs within the FM company and the service provider or client company, which we call the two sides of the coin. And then we're going to also talk a little bit about the strategic levels of facility management. So they're just that's just a breakdown. You already have the material. So we start with the FM career. You start this program and you're either already working in facility management or just considering switching from whatever you were doing into facility management, or a young school leaver who is thinking facility management looks like an interesting profession that I can pursue, right? That's why you're in this program. You need to be able to set specific goals. Not many people go through schools from primary, secondary, university with specific career goals, okay? Many people just found themselves in the FM profession by circumstances.
I sent an account number.
By circumstances, okay? But we don't allow that circumstances that brought you here continue to dictate the future of the choices you make along this career path. In facility, in Max-Migold, we try to teach you what you need to have in the bottom of your, in the back of your mind as you trudge through this this career of facility management. So we're going to talk about the pathways, the various opportunities in FM, so that you can know how to plan your career and move it forward effectively. First thing I need to point out, I know a lot of us, when we get out of school, OND or HND or first degree, we want to go get another degree and then another degree, hoping that that will increase our chances of getting the plum jobs. Unfortunately, that is not true, okay? For several reasons. If you are more than 25 years, you often will not be considered for what we call entry-level positions. Okay? And if you are trying to apply for entry-level positions with multiple degrees, you will most likely be told you are overqualified. So age and overqualification are two things that will work against you when you acquire more degrees when you don't have experience yet. So what do we advise? In facility management, get at least one tertiary degree, a diploma, HND, OND, HND, BSc, BD, BEng, BAc, whatever, first degree. Now, when you have a first degree and you want to work in facility management, if you are still in the entry level age bracket, like I said, then you are straight up ready to go into the profession. But because what you read is not specifically facility management, as there are no first degrees or undergraduate degrees in FM, it's important for you to go through a program such as this, the FM diploma, that helps you get grounded and you can quickly get straight into the profession and you become super good in a short while. Now, but if you are not, you're older, you've been out of school, done some things here and there, been an estate agent, receptionist, foreman, security supervisor, clean supervisor, and all that kind of job. And that's why I really want to upgrade now and to become a facility manager. Then you want to upgrade. Your upgrade is going to be the training and an experience. Facility management is a professional program. There are two types of education and training you can acquire. Those that are discipline related, all right, and those that are professional related. Professional programs are programs where you can come from several disciplines, but you can become a professional in that field because professionalism is tending towards what you are delivering to the client, what you are delivering to the end user. So if I am an engineer or an architect, that's my discipline. That's where I come from, even an accountant, a scientist in one form or the other, a communicator, and so on and so forth. But if I provide a particular service to end users like facility management, I am now in the profession of facility management. So you can actually be an accountant and be in the profession of facility management. You can come from accountancy and being in the medical industry, medical profession, handling records and accounting bills and the rest, right? So bottom line here is, if you're in a professional program, what people expect is not necessarily a pile up of degrees. It's training, certification, and experience. They're just the two anchors of professions. And that's why you see people succeed so well today in IT, in HR, in many professions, just like facility management. They did not study those professions as their discipline in their first degree or their backgrounds, but they took on professional certifications and then they gained experience in the field. Those are the two most important things you need, not the degrees. And some of the things that work against degrees nowadays is the fact that degrees are relative in value. If I have my degree from University A and you have your degree from University B, nobody will see both of them as the same in value. Everybody sees every degree. It is rated according to the institution that issued it. So there's a class of degree, and then there's the institution that issued it, right? So we will not be holding the same thing. If you have a UNILAG degree and someone else has a Harvard degree, right? You may say it's the same degree in so and so course, but again, nobody sees it as the same. But if somebody from Harvard and somebody from UNILAG goes to take a certification exam like the IFMA FMP or the IFMA CFM, whoever ends it comes top, because that standard becomes a global standard. It overrides any kind of qualifications that the relativity of university degrees will bring. Additional points, ladies and gentlemen, if you are switching from one career into facility management and you need certification and you need experience, the FM Mastercraft Diploma today is going to give you a certification that you can anchor on and start with, right? And you can build more certifications on top of that. So when students come to tell me, oh, I'm doing a master's in facility management, and I say, look, it's fine, right? You still need to have industry certifications in addition to the degree. And then you must have experience. Experience means you must work and you must be able to document what you have achieved on that job. Now, when I say experience, many people think of it as the number of years I have stayed doing this job. That's not experience. Please note, your experience is the amount of achievements that you have made on the job. You can have a lot of experience in 1 year, way more than somebody who has worked 10 years and have fewer achievements. So please document your experience, not just in years of sitting in that role, but your experience is your achievements on that role. What are the innovations? What are the contributions? What are the value? What are the commendations you've received? What are the promotions? What are the customer accolades you have received? Those are what makes up your experience. What are the challenges you've overcome? What are the new ideas that have brought significant changes? And in one of our future courses, and that's why it's important for you to be in every class in the FMMC, in one of our future courses, we're going to be dealing with how to document these achievements. We're going to be having a class on how to populate and update your CV on a monthly basis with key achievements, so that when you are rolling out your CV, they come out with powerful statements that defines empirically that you have achieved, not that I've been in this role for so many years. And if you are one of those who used to put your job description in your CV, I will tell you now, if you have that, go and delete it. Your job description has nothing to do with what you have done. Nobody wants to see your job description. What you've been asked to do, they don't know what you actually did and what you actually achieved. So I don't need to see your job description in your CV. I need to see what you made out of that job description, what you did as achievements or accomplishments on that role. That is experience, okay? All right, so in terms of training programs, we have the beyond the FM Mastercraft diploma, which we run here. You can take the IFMA, the International Facility Management Association programs, which includes the Essentials. Essentials is entry level, you know, how to do work management, HSC, performance management at the initial level, almost, you know, comparable to what you are doing in the FMMC right now. Just that we have a lot more strategic concepts being taught here that the Essentials will not teach, okay? And then you have the FM professionals, facility management professional, FMP, from IFMA as well. This is an international credential. It has gained ground globally. I think to date, you should be talking about 20,000 professionals who are FMPs globally. Okay, so it's a well-rooted professional certification or credential, actually. And there's a difference between a certificate, a credential, and a certification. I'll talk about them in a bit. So the FMP is a credential. It comes with a designation. You write it once and for all. You have that initial FMP after your name, okay? But it covers just 4 of the competencies we're going to be looking at today. So there's a lot more that the FMP does not cover. We call it the core competencies because these are like the basic entry-level competencies for delivering FM services: operations and maintenance, project management, finance and business, leadership and strategy, okay? Now, sustainable facility professional, the SFP, is another credential. This takes 1 out of the 11 competencies that IFMA has defined and turns it into a credential. If you want to manage high rises, green buildings, smart buildings, have energy efficiency focus and all of that, you need the SFP certification. To date, globally, I think there are about 2,000, 3,000 SFPs and growing. So it's a specialization of sorts. And then you have the certified facility manager. This is not just a credential that comes with designation, it's actually a certification. A certification means that you need to work to maintain it. You need to do professional activities to maintain it as something you hold. It expires every 3 years, and you will need to write a comprehensive exam. You see, the FMP has 4 competencies, the SFP has 1 competence, the CFM is all encompassing of all FM competencies. But again, the CFM is not just testing knowledge like the FMP or the SFP. The CFM is testing experience, how to make judgment calls, right? So there'll be a lot of scenarios in that exam. For those who will be ready to take it, there'll be a lot of scenarios. It's more like this is a problem, how would you solve it? This is a problem, how will you solve it? All with objective answers. And then it comes up with a lot of correct answers. You have to pick the best answer basically for the CFM. It's a pass or fail. If you fail it, before you can even attempt it, you must have experienced FM for at least 5 years if you did not read FM as a first degree. And then if you fail it, you will go 6 months, practice again, come back and try again and pay a new fee to write it. Or like the FMP and SFP that it's online exams at your pace, do it in 2 years and get over with at the way you desire with no extra fee involved. You can fail it and do it again and pass it again. There are training from, now the BIFM is no longer BIFM, it's now IWFM. We need to update this particular slide. It used to be the British Institute of Facility Management, but it's now the Institute of Workplace and Facility Management. Please make a note of that so that when you speak about the British FM Association, don't call it the British Institute of Facility Management anymore. Call it the Institute of Workplace and Facility Management. And Barakat, if you're there, please make a note of correcting this slide. We need to correct this slide as quickly as possible, okay? Now, but the thing about the IWFM courses is it's tied to the British qualification system. They call them the vocational qualification system, where you have MVQ 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And since facility management is a profession, there are intersecting points. When somebody has a diploma in FM, you're probably in level 3, you have a degree in FM level 4, you have a master's level 5, and so on and so forth. And if you don't have any related FM degrees, you have to convert your experiences and project work, and some new training to get to higher levels 5 and 6 in the British system. Not very popular because it's not been packaged as designations and credentials the way the IFMA programs have been done. And then you have the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors. This ROICS is the umbrella association of all workplace professionals. So the ROICS have quantity surveyors in them, architects in them, estate valuers, estate surveyors, facility managers, just about anybody that works in the built environment can obtain an ROICS status. So basically, if you start, you're an associate. If you qualify, they appoint you as an associate, and then as you gain more experience, you can become a member. So ASOC RICS is the first level, and then you have the MRICS, which is a member, and then if you're a member for so many years, you can now become a fellow. That's how the RICS work. And all of these professional bodies, they provide you the additional benefit of networking. They provide some learning opportunities. Most of the time, even with your paid dues or fees, membership fees, you still need to pay for learning resources for many of them. But if you participate in things like surveys, you probably will get copies of the survey reports, which is very helpful. Benchmark studies, you can have certain membership benefits outlined in the website. So if you log in, you see a member section where you can see certain resources you can refer to from time to time, okay? It's very important that we take professional bodies seriously. For us in Nigeria, we have a National Association of Facility Management, and not many people know that. But to be honest, as of today, we have about 1,000 members of the Association of Facility Management Practitioners, Nigeria. Association of Facility Management Practitioners, Nigeria, AFMPN. This body is national. Members of the IWFM Nigeria chapter are there. Members of the IFMA Nigeria chapter are there. Members of other FM professional groups nationwide are also there. So this is our national body of facility managers. And in the current executive, I am the national deputy president for AFMPN in this tenure. 2021, 2022. And so if anyone wants to join the AFM PN, it's very low, no barrier to entry right now. It's just 10,000 Naira membership dues for the year. And you can be part of our robust Telegram group for now. You get a certificate of membership. And it's very important that I always encourage you to be part of it, because opportunities come a lot to people who are in that platform. There's a lot of job opportunities, learning opportunities, training opportunities, and networking exchanges. You're looking for vendors for different things. It's all popping up every day. It's just a fantastic platform to be part of for just 10,000 Naira a year. So I'd encourage you to do that. What I would do is to have the Telegram group link dropped for you in your WhatsApp page. I mean, to join is free. Just join that general web Telegram group, and then go on to look at the instructions for membership, pay into the account, and you get a certificate. Now we have a registrar, so processing of certificates will be happening faster. Like before, when we used to wait some months, somebody even waited for up to 6 months to get a certificate. I'm not sure that's going to be happening again with this new regime, now that we have a full-time registrar in place. In terms of training for facility managers, what's been happening in the past is that we haven't just the short courses, 2 days course, 3 days courses. They are not enough, to move you to qualification. Just like refreshers. The FM diploma is the first, and it has really opened up a huge opportunity for us to get people grounded in FM, be able to call themselves professional facility managers, because they've covered the length and breadth of the profession. So let's look at FM skills and competences. To be a facility manager, you need to be a people's person. Interpersonal skills is core to our profession. You have to be someone who is liked by people, by your users, by your friends, by your bosses. You have to be liked. So start thinking about what it means to be liked. Maybe you want to ask me some questions at the end of the lesson, or you want to tell me your own opinion of what it means to be liked. You must be a very good communicator, be able to interact with people, be able to understand what they really want, be able to explain yourself. You can't have arrogance or ego when doing this profession. You can't, because it's a service industry. In the service industry, we serve, we give respect, we don't demand it, but we get it in return because respect is reciprocal, right? And then procurement and negotiation. The facility manager must know how to source for the cheapest solutions to everything they need. I'm using cheapest deliberately. If you know exactly what your customer wants, you should be able to specify it correctly and go for the cheapest option out there. If you don't know how to go for the cheapest option after you have carefully specified, then you will be a problem for the organization, because every Naira higher than the amount that should be the cheapest is a value loss. And that's what you must avoid. The FM must be a good time manager. You know, when we talk about that proactive request to complaint to escalation to crisis, it may not sink in deeply enough if you've not yet started working at a proactive level. If you are still at the request, complaint, and escalation level, or even crisis level, you will find that most of the things you do are thrown at you. Your time cannot be managed. You are always under pressure and under tension. That is the very bad facility manager. We went for an interview once and we're trying to select some people who have worked on that project in the past so we can pick some people that are suitable for us to train and deploy on the project. We're using our own methodologies. And somebody was trying to impress us by telling us that, oh, you see me running helter-skelter. Light will go off any minute now. You see that I'm the one running helter-skelter to get it back on. And we just laughed and said, you're not the facility manager that we're looking for. That helter-skelter was just all that disqualified him from that job, right? The whole idea here is you must rein in on the use of your time. You must be able to have a tracking mechanism for the things you do to be able to identify whether you are being thrown things or you are doing things deliberately. The moment you're able to move most of the things you do to things you pick on deliberately, you're focusing, you are solving tomorrow's problem that will have thrown at you, then you are managing your time, and that makes you a facility manager. You know, be a good project manager. Project management requires commercial acumen, which comes in procurement again, requires that you are able to manage people, because in projects you are going to work with a lot of people, and every time you work with people, you must be able to get them to understand what you want in terms of the vision and the goal for that role or that task, be able to specify what needs to be done, be able to provide the resources they need to do it, be able to supervise and follow up to ensure they do it, be able to report back to track their performance, reward them for work well done, incentivize or penalize. That's project management, basically, walking through people and getting things done. If you're not getting things done, you're not a good project manager. And then you have the research and writing. It's just amazing that you're going to be finding all kinds of problems pop at you every day. If you are not good at research, you will not be able to find solutions, because let me put your mind to rest. All the problems you've encountered and the ones you will encounter in the future has been encountered before by someone, right? It's just your ability to find how the problem has been solved before, through research, benchmarking studies, interaction with other people through network, and so on and so forth. You have to be a good researcher. And then you must be able to write reports, be able to write proposals, be able to write business cases, be able to write lecture notes to train, be able to write all kinds of writing. Your writing will precede you. And if you think that, oh, because English is not our language, nobody should judge me by my writing, you are making a big mistake. You cannot be a good professional in using a particular language like we do in Nigeria and say you're going to ignore that language. Become good in it, even if you have to go and get Queen Premier, and if you have to go and get editors in your Microsoft Office and the rest, make sure the editors work. Use them to get your writing right. And then we work with teams. We don't do anything alone, so you have to work with people. Being able to get people to own their jobs is a huge part of what you do. So be able to specify the work that needs to be done in response to what the customer or the client or the user requires, and be able to define what needs to be done exactly, how it will be monitored, how the results will be delivered to the client. Those are all part of team working. So organization, coordination, and correlation is very key to this team working ability. And your ability to even be able to see clearly what kind of skills your team has and what skills you will need to deliver. And then leadership. Leadership has 3 levels. There's the leading those above you, leading those at your level, and leading those below you. Many of us seem to excel, or at least try to lead those below us. But too many of us ignore leading those above us. And I can tell you for free, if you are not yet leading those above you, you are failing. If you're not yet leading your bosses, if you're not listening, and how do you know you are leading your bosses? How do you know you are leading them? 1, whenever you put forward a proposal, they immediately say approved. So to lead them so you can always get approved ties back to my integrity, credibility, and competence. The formula I gave you last week on Wednesday, right? Integrity, credibility, and competence. Okay. And then everything you do must show that you fully understand the bosses, which is alignment. Alignments. Don't be having any kind of friction with your bosses. If your boss thinks differently, first make every effort to understand what that difference is. Okay. Never, ever, ever put your position ahead and say, this is what I think is right. I'm the technical person here. I know it better than you. If you do that, you are failing woefully. Because whoever you are working with that sees you in that situation, many of us come back and tell me, oh, they are feeling threatened because I know better. I say, look, you are ruining your career. If somebody feels threatened about your knowledge, you are ruining your career, you are finishing yourself, you are destroying your future. So, and it is not the person that is feeling threatened that has the problem, it's you that they are feeling threatened about that is having the problem. So you must go and ask yourself, what have I done or what am I doing that makes somebody feel threatened about me working under him? Because you can't rise. And it's not just that organization, you will not be able to rise anywhere else in life if the bosses above you are feeling threatened and you are proud to say they are feeling threatened by what you know and your competencies. There's problem idea. Now, so leading your bosses means you are so aligned to the point where they bounce ideas off you. They call you to get ideas, solve problems, issues, right? And then they almost seem to get your confirmation before acting on things. That means you are now leading your bosses. What that means really is that they are feeding from your palm. And if I put that integrity, credibility, competence, and alignment, that's the fourth one I just dropped in there. If you practice these four things perfectly, then super. Any boss you work with will virtually worship you, will sing your praises any day. And when the boss is already being led by you, who are the subordinates? Who are those under you that will be misbehaving? When they know that even the list of people to be shortlisted for exit, the boss will run it by you before he will implement it. They know that they can't mess with you. Basically, that's where the power comes from. Besides the fact that you get all the resources you need, by the way, you understand, you'll get your bosses approving your budget and approving your funds, because it just trusts you that you're not going to put that money in your pocket and that you're thinking it's for the best interest of the organization. Innovation, technology, IT, these are all areas that we need to advance ourselves. Facility managers cannot remain in that old school environment where we learn as if, do things as if it is the way it has always been done. You must continually bring in innovation and creativity into what you do. And my rule of thumb is very simple. If what you are doing today is how you were doing it last year, there's a problem. And if that's how you've been doing it in 2 years ago, then you are in crisis mode. You have to find ways to get it done better and better year to year. Okay. And then the FM must have numerical know-how. Numbers rule the world. I hear people say things like, I don't like mathematics. I like field work. I like just going around getting things done. You know, all this mathematics stuff. I said, no. You must know numbers. You must be able to tally occurrences and reports and make sense out of them so that you can make instructive decisions. Somebody is telling me these whole SCs, they're giving us problem. We should remove them and buy new ones. And I said, give me the mean time between failures of each of them. And what is that? The last 2 years of managing these ACs, give me evidence of each time they broke down, how long it took to fix, how much went into it, what components were replaced. You didn't keep the records. Sorry, there's problem. That statement that is giving you problem that we need to replace it is fallacy. You can't back it up with numbers. Or a contractor comes in and says, I have to do this job for 80,000, but you have to pay me up front. And the company says, no, we don't pay up front. It says his price is going to be 120. And you'll be like, company, no, please, we'll pay him up front. So he's jacking it up by 40,000, or we're going to spend more. Who told you we are spending more if he's paid 120 at the end of the day? If you know numbers, you will understand what we call time value of money. What can we be doing with 80,000? Why the guy is spending his money doing the job? If he's going to give us more than 120 by the time he's done, or by the time we are due to pay him, it is cheaper to pay him 120 later than pay him 80 now. Many FMs don't even know anything about this, right? Internal rate of returns, time value of money, we don't know anything about it. So we go on pushing policies and taking positions that are working against us in the organization. The CFOs and the CEOs see us as unintelligent when we're given to push pay deposits, pay upfront, when the company knows that it will be better to even pay ×2 later because of our source of funds and what we do with our money. The FM should know numbers and then be able to manage emergencies. You can't be the one unable to think in the middle of a crisis. The FM should be able. Now, communication is the #1 competence you need to have as a facility manager. And why is that? You need to work with people. You need to be a good relationship manager. You need to be liked by people. You need to be complete in your communication so that people can get all the information you are sharing with them and be able to act in ways that you want them to act to move things forward. As such, you need to be an excellent communicator. But what does that mean in facility management? You must be able to use what we call a communications plan. A communications plan identifies all of your key stakeholders, your bosses, visitors, building users, everybody, identifying all of them one by one. And your question is, what information will each of these stakeholders need from me? Question 1. Question 2, what information would I need from these stakeholders? That's question 2. And then you flesh that out into what is the frequency of this need? How often would I need this kind of information? How often should this stakeholder need this kind of information from me? That creates the template on which you're going to put your plan. So it's like a spreadsheet. If I have a stakeholder, the first line is, what does he expect from me? A monthly report. He also needs a weekly operations report. He also needs an annual facility plan report. He also needs an annual budget from me, and so on and so forth. What am I doing? I'm identifying everything that stakeholder will require from me, one by one, right? And then for each line item I have created for what the person requires from me, I'm going to have what the frequency, when is it due? In what format is it going to be presented? And so on and so forth, because some information are through meetings, some are through reports, some are presentations, right? Some are spreadsheet analysis and so on and so forth. I will do that for that one stakeholder, what they need from me. I will add what I need from them. For example, I need approvals for my annual plans or my project or whatever I'm working on. So I put all of those down there and I create a plan around them. That is basic facility management. You would agree with me that this is not happening right now. It's not happening. Everything we do is almost ad hoc. It's almost every time somebody will have to remind you. In fact, let me tell you bottom line. If you're communicating correctly, nobody should ask you a question. They either already have the answer in your last communication, or they expect the answer in the next communication. They won't even bother to reach out to you. So people are bombarding you. Sometimes I go to your site and we're doing some joint inspections and your phone is ringing around the clock. I'll just know you're very ineffective as a facility manager. You are asking questions, asking questions, asking questions. You're crappy. Sorry. If you do a budget, a presentation, a strategic plan, a proposal, a business case, do you always get approved? What could be the problem that you're not getting approved? It is because you're not communicating correctly. You're either not analyzing data correctly, or you are using the wrong type of data, or you're not aligning your analysis to management expectations. So a competent facility manager must be able to prepare and deliver messages that achieve the intended results. If you tell people in your office to please put off the lights when you're leaving the office, do they put off? You think it's not your problem if they put it off or not, right? It is your problem. Until they start doing what you ask them to do, you are the one failing. That's communication for you. So all those, I tell my technicians this, they will not listen. They always do what's in their mind, blah, blah. Go and look in the mirror and ask yourself, what can I do better so that when I communicate, people do it? You're either not a nice person, so they're looking for ways to frustrate you, or you are not communicating clearly enough. Information is not complete. People are too afraid of you to even approach or ask questions, and they mess things up for you. Or they don't just feel committed to the job in the first place. They don't see any reason why. They don't have any kind of motivation. You've not done anything about it. Well, that's your number one competence. Your career is made or broken on this competence. And then we have the emergency preparedness and business continuity. It's all about risk planning. The FM would typically say, this thing is beyond my control. After all, just look at how the dollar price has gone from 560, 550 this year to 700, almost 700. As a few days ago, it was 674. And you'd be like, you see, we don't have control over this. Or rain fell and messed things up. Oh, well, we don't have control over this. Or there was an accident or power outage or so on and so forth. We give all kinds of excuses. Ladies and gentlemen, if you do an emergency preparedness and business continuity plan, you anticipate every potential risk to your business. That is proactive facility management. The moment you have this plan in place, you're no longer surprised by whatever is going to happen. You're almost immune to what's going to happen. Because you have something that you can fall back on, instead of the excuse that you hold as a medal to show for why you did not work. Environmental stewardship, facility managers are responsible for the environment. We do a lot of dumping of waste. We do a lot of fossil fuel consumption. We do a lot of chemical use that pollute the environment. We need to be very conscious. So coming up with programs, initiatives to help sustain the earth, to help reduce our negative impacts, is key to our profession. Finance and business, you manage money. What are the tools for managing money? Budgets, contracts, procurements. You need to be competent in these three areas, at least. How to budget appropriately, what to budget for, how to estimate and get the right budget so you're not over budgeting, you're not padding. And then all of those things are going to contract. The service level agreements we talked about, we're going to talk more about it and keep talking about it throughout this program. How to understand all of those agreements, all part of finance and business. And then you are the procurement manager in your organization. Everything that you demand for to be bought, you need to be able to specify it correctly. You need to know exactly where to find the right suppliers. Even if you're not the one running the administration or procurement, you are the procurement manager because you are the one specifying what will be bought. You are the one going to determine whether what was bought was suitable, whether the price for it is suitable because you are the owner of your budget as well. And then we say people, right? People that you serve, they determine everything about your organization, your career, your progress, your success level. So you must be able to implement practices that support the performance of the entire organization. Your job in providing space and service is not just for that individual. It's for that individual to be able to achieve why the company employed him in the first place. You are thinking beyond the individual to the goal or the reason why the person was employed. So making a person comfortable, it's not just about that individual, it's about the organization getting returns on its investment on that person. That's how you think as an FM. So you're not going to start arguing with people about, not asking for too much and blah, blah, blah. No, they can't ask for too much. It's your job to ensure that within the organizational policies and procedures, everything that they should get to be able to function properly, you are providing. That's your role. That's your job. And then the same thing applies to the team you work with. Your team must understand their roles, understand where you're taking the department to, and be able to make the effort and the sacrifice to move in that direction. And I will talk about leadership. You must be able to lead your team, lead, inspire, and influence them. You'll be able to provide leadership to the entire organization as an example of ethics and a code of conduct. And let me be very plain with you. Facility management, as it is today in Nigeria, almost everywhere in the world though, is the most corrupt of all professions. And it's a dangerous thought. Very dangerous. The number of facility managers who are helping to manipulate invoices and getting kickbacks from contractors are way more in proportion to their numbers in the industry compared to all other professions put together. And that is dangerous. It has to be your decision today to follow on the path of ethics and integrity, build a career that is based on credibility, integrity, and competence, not anyone that is based on pilfering, manipulation, because you will not grow professionally. And our industry is still being dogged by this code of conduct issues. And you must be able to create strategic plans, see ahead, develop plans that gives that lay out long-term vision and breaks that down into a specific action that needs to be taken on a year-to-year basis. We hear of operations and maintenance. I hear people say, oh, I'm very good at operations. What they actually are telling you is that they run around a lot. They run helter-skelter. If you are good at operations, number one, you'll be able to do your proper asset register. Number two, you'll be able to do the condition assessment. You will know the condition of everything in your facility at any given time. One of my mentees called me yesterday and said I was in an interview and they asked me what my square meters of my property I'm managing is, and I did not know. And said, you disappoint me. Like, you really disappoint me. How would you not know your square meters you are covering after going through my program? It just was unexplainable. You must know what you manage before you can say I'm managing it, before you can say I'm managing it well. So being able to do assessments is very key. Being able to install, being able to maintain, and maintenance is a huge, huge area. We talk about it, and I say 1/22 because it is 1/2 of this one competence. There are 11 competencies. And in one of the competencies, you have operations and maintenance. So maintenance is 1/2 of 1/11, right? So that is 1/22. It is not everything you do, but even at that, you must be able to know maintenance properly. So that's why we'll teach you maintenance strategy. We're going to teach you maintenance planning on this course. And then you must be able to manage occupant services. You see all those soft services, they are all very delicate. They are so delicate that you might have in your mind that you're providing the proper soft services, and the customer does not believe that. The customer feels that you are not providing exactly what he expects, right? So how do you quantify what the customer expects in objective terms in a written SLA contract? How do you enforce it to ensure that it's being fulfilled exactly the way the customer wants? It's a huge job for us as facility managers, okay? And we must be able to operate our facilities, our lighting, temperature control, all of those routine activities that makes the place to work perfectly. Project management, we talked about this, define projects, get approvals for it, execute, monitor projects, very important. And then you must be a service quality expert. And what does service quality means? Applying standards, creating and applying standards. And we talked about the standards in our last class, right? We said regulatory standards is at the minimum. Above it, you can have your customer standard, you can have industry standards, you can have professional standards, and so on and so forth. Creating those standards and measuring compliance to the standards is key to quality of service you're delivering, okay? You must be able to measure. We have what we call metrics. We have key performance indicators. In this program, you're going to learn all about this. And then real estate and property management. The facility manager must be able to develop and implement a real estate master plan and able to manage and oversee real estate assets. We know that real estate on its own is a different profession. So you have the real estate, and then you have the property management, and then you have the facility management. So in some organizations, you have the real estate managing both the property management and the facility management. Now, in some organizations, you have the property management up, no real estate function, doing real estate jobs, and also managing facility management. And for many organizations now, this is a common trend. You have the facility management doing the real estate and property management functions, all of those service charge, tenants, rent and interaction with tenants, all those things that property managers do are now being done by the FM. If you elevate yourself in your organization, you will rise to include property management tasks and real estate tasks. And that's why you need to have this competency now as a facility manager. And then technology, you must be able to plan, direct, manage, and oversee operational and business technologies. All of those integrated workplace management, CAFM system, CMMS, BAS technologies. So the FM career, it's very broad. Everything we said are the support services to the organization. Everything from cleaning, safety, security, operational, business continuity, space management, and all included in FM. It's huge. So just use that core versus non-core. If somebody is core, it's in the core business. If non-core, it's in facility management. That helps you to just break it down. The FM work is supposed to be a typical job like every other person, working 40 hours a week. But you see, we don't come to work like every other person. We don't come to work with them. We don't come to work as them. The core business is the reason why our own department exists, right? So we come to work for them. And because of that, there is no need to disrupt the core business because we want to do our own job. Shutting down generator, for example, by 11 a.m. to do servicing because it's time for you to do your servicing is criminal. You're obstructing the entire business flow just because you want to do your job. That means you're forgotten. You don't know why you are doing what you are doing. If you know why you are doing what you are doing, you will not obstruct anybody's operations. You will not say, I must clean at this time, even if it's not convenient for you. You will not say, I will shut down this and do this improvement because it has to be done. You will not say that, right? Which means you will have to do a lot of your work evenings, weekends, to be out of their way, proactively planning what needs to be done at such hours. But then my question is, if the work that you do will require you to come at certain odd hours and after the weekends and the rest, why do you still sit in the office from morning till night doing nothing? Only to do the work when people have left. So plan your time in such a way that you could have some day off because you're going to work on weekends. You could have some evenings, like I come to work by 2 because I'm going to work till 10. I'm having a painting project, for example, or I'm having a fumigation project on the weekend and so on and so forth. Plan your hours. This is all part of proactive facility management. Somebody told me, oh, the HRO will say you are late for work. You didn't come to work by 8 o'clock. If you have a work plan, you have your vision for your job, you have your goals, and you have a work plan that reflects how you are going to achieve all of those goals, and it meets your contractual obligation to the company of 40 hours a week. For goodness sake, no HR will be that insensitive to say you have to be here by 8 and close by 5. It is you that need to show the HRO why you were employed. The HR will understand that you need to come here after hours and get things done. If you have the whole time in the world to work morning till night and night till morning and weekends and all, go ahead. Maybe that suits you, but that's not standard practice. You need to plan your work so your working hours is reasonable. Okay. And your responsibilities as an FM could be really, really broad. So I see some people come back to me and say, oh, they gave me this task to perform. Is that FM work? Anything they give you to do is FM work. Okay, please go and do it. That's the truth. Okay. And in FM, you could go from to any level, right? You can become very senior executives, but that is when you are working in a service provider's company. Like if you work for any of the FM companies, if you work for the client companies, it's usually that level where you can get to as a non-core participant in that organization. You most likely would not become the CEO or the MD of a manufacturing plant if you are the FM, no matter how strategic you elevate yourself. Okay. And so we talked about we'll talk about all of the various roles you could find yourself in: maintenance, specialist positions like energy management managers, assets managers, and the rest are common in the industry. And if you are in the FM company, like I said, you can rise to any extent, but if you're in the client or demand organization, you have a plateau. Now, do not get the nomenclature or naming or designation of employees wrong or misplaced. Some companies will not call you manager unless you're actually in the rank of manager. So when creating your organizational structure for your department, you cannot say facility manager when the person is actually not yet ranked as a manager, right? So you probably want to use the kind of hierarchy the organization uses, like super coordinators and the rest, to also designate your team in facilities. The two sides of the coin has its advantages and disadvantages. Working for an FM company, you get experience with many different clients. You experience different client environments, requirements, contract types, geographical location. You move around the lots. You're not tied to one portfolio. You can, get experience from several industries. This time you're in aviation, the other time you're in healthcare and so on. So you enjoy facility management to the depth. But you might feel burnout, overworked. You might not get the same amount of pay that the in-house or demand organization FM will earn. You may not have the authorization that is, carte blanche for you to do anything you like, as an in-house FM would do, because you always have to get permission or approval from two sources, from the client organization to go ahead, and then from your own organization for approvals to get things done. So again, there are those limitations. If you work for the demand organization, you own the assets, or you're managing assets directly, you manage your budget, you can be more strategic in taking the organization to where it's supposed to be, because this is yours, you own it. Contractors are here as visitors. They are in now and out the next year or so, right? The advantage, some find constantly working on the same portfolio with the same assets restricted and lacking in variety, and this is a real problem. People who have not had experiences in multiple environments, they often fail the CFM exam. Sorry, but that's the truth. Okay. So the growth opportunities are also limited. You get stuck at a certain point. All right, we talked about the hard and soft services. You can read that up. FM departments, we have a whole course on that. Talked about technology, but I would like to stop with this particular slide on levels of FM operations. It's very important that you pay attention now. Facility management can be operated or run at the strategic level, tactical level, and the operational level. At the strategic level, you are taking decisions to the and so forth, how many staff to employ, organizational structure to deploy. They are very high level. You create a strategic facility plan. We have a class for this as well, so stay tuned. And you roll out that strategic facility plan at the strategic facility level, planning level. And then at the tactical level, you are taking objectives, long-term goals that have been set at the strategic level, and you're implementing them on a year-by-year plan. So you use things like budgets at the tactical levels. If you create a budget for next year for operations, OPEX budgets, or you create a budget for next year for CAPEX, capital budgets, improvements and replacements budgets, you're operating at the tactical level. If you have a project to build a new building or to renovate and remodel an existing building, they are all part of tactical planning. So the design and the contract documents and specification for those bill of quantities, they're all part of tactical planning. Now, the operational level is the doing point where you're actually doing. So whether you are implementing a project, by actually building it out, working with people, or you are doing a routine operation using cleaners and security guards and maintenance crews and so on and so forth, you are at the operational level. Now, why this particular slide is very important is many people start their career at the tactical level, never rise above it. Most of what you do at the tactical level without a strategic level planning will be faulty. For example, based on what are you defining a budget line item when you don't have a strategic plan that aligns with the organization's strategic objective? And if you don't have that strategic objective, and you don't have a strategic plan, and you create a line item for a budget to spend so and so amount and it's being questioned, you see yourself just either removing it or cutting it down without any form of explanation or justification. And that is a blunder. Okay? So you cannot operate at the tactical level and then down to the operational level and be doing things right. It starts with how things are reasoned out, how the strategy is created at the strategic level. Many FMs never get to that level. And the reason they never get to that level is they never become deeply immersed in their organizations to the point where they fully understand what the organization strategy is and create a corresponding strategy as an FM strategy to respond to that organizational requirements. But the question you might ask is it cooler at the top? Should I work my way to the top, or should I still keep counting tissues and soaps and measuring liquid soap for cleaners and stay at the store holding the keys to fumigation chemicals and taking account of diesel? Yeah, it's all exciting work at the bottom, but you can stay there forever if you want. Okay, for you to elevate yourself up, you need to study, practice, and start working more proactively, deliberately. When a client is trying to build a new facility and does not involve the FM who is working with him at the current facility, then that FM has failed woefully, because you are not seen as knowledgeable, experienced, or relevant on decisions like where do we site the new place, how much investments, what kind of sustainability strategies do we put in place, what kind of energy efficiency benchmarks do we set, what kind of building material should we choose. They don't want to ask you because they just believe that you are down there holding keys and counting tissues and soaps. So move your career up by deliberately getting immersed in your organization and creating strategic plans that aligns with what the organization is trying to achieve. Many of us see strategic planning being done by senior management and brought to us, and we still struggle to understand it, let alone be able to apply it. We see it as a problem. They've come, they want to sack off people now. They want to, all kinds of suspicion rings in your head. Well, these are the things you should be the one anchoring. Once they hold a retreat, management retreat, and a new document comes out and it's in your website, pick it. Find areas where you can anchor new initiatives to support the organization. The moment you start solving problems for senior management this way, that they don't have to be the one to figure out things, and then before they even worry about it, you come with fleshed out plans and analysis. My dear, you are rising, because when your matter is discussed in the boardroom 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, the next time they invite you to come and do a presentation, before you know what's happening, you are sitting in the boardroom permanently discussing important things. The call is yours. But again, if there's a good head at the top, everything at the bottom is done well. If the top is empty, everything at the bottom, no matter how effective what those guys at the bottom try to do, the results are abysmal. So get to the top quickly. Key lesson: work strategic, be proactive. All right, to start working on your CVs right now for those who want to change jobs, get a new job. We have a whole course on how to package yourself very well, but immediately start working your CVs. First, remove those job descriptions you have there and start putting achievements in your CVs. And then, you know, when you submit your CVs the way they are now, because when we finish the class for workplace productivity, you're going to be given an assignment to go and redo your CV. You're going to have a job description assignment. You're going to have a CV assignment to submit that improves what you had before. Okay, and let me tell you something. Most graduates of our program, they come out tops in all the interviews they attend, not just because they now know technically how management thinks and alignments with what is expected at the top. They easily get that out, but they also now know how to package themselves. So we are finishing school. We're not just a school where we expose you to important things to go and do at work. We also finish you as a professional, okay? So get ready for the ride. That's our lesson for today. Let's see your questions. And please don't forget, every class has an assessment. We are not going to, and the reason we drive this class this way is when you listen to a class, you know, you've read the material a few hours to the class, you now attend the class. You will see that the moment you finish from the class, you've gained 10 times what you had before after you have read the content. So if you were at level 1 before you even got the material, you will move to level 2. When you now attend the class, you move 5 more levels to level 7. When you now do this assessment immediately after the class, which means you have to dig through the material again, use the knowledge you've gained from the class, refresh yourself, and actually express yourself in answer to this, you move to level 10. In fact, if you do this consistently, our final exams, you won't even need to stress yourself about it. You won't do it more than once. Okay? And so when we put this kind of rigor into the program, it is deliberate. You can't come out of this and go fumbling an interview. You can't. You can't not know the right terminologies to use to express yourself. You cannot know what the steps are in proper facility management, because we will make you learn it. Okay? So please, don't see this as punishment. See it as development. Do the assessment immediately after the class today. Questions, please. All right, let's see your hands up. Michael's hand is up. You can go ahead right away. We'll have just 15 minutes to run through questions and discussion. Michael, go ahead, please.
Yeah, while I was going through the course outline, I discovered that we have at least 3 software that can aid us in facility management. Is there any training for this software in Max-Migold? Because I know even if it... Okay. So like I was saying, I know even if it is a Microsoft Word,
I think I understand your question. Yeah. So, Mike, if I understand you correctly, you're asking if we have sessions to expose you to technology platforms, right?
Yes.
We do. We typically would take you through a demo of one software that we recommend. It's a software from Sierra ODC in India. It's either that or Instanta, which is a software from a Nigerian company called Systev. We promote both softwares. So we will take you through a demo of a typical facility management software, okay? But please learn how to use Office, Excel, PowerPoint yourself, okay? When I went to school in the UK, I taught as an architect who has worked for 5 years or 6 years. I know enough of those softwares until I started floundering in my assignments. They'll give you an assignment with specific formatting instruction. With all the knowledge and the wisdom I had, I was getting a B in a project management assignment that I should have had an A, in fact, best in class for, because I couldn't format properly. I couldn't meet the specification the lecturer gave. I've learned the hard way. So when it comes to Office packages, I tell you, if you've missed it in primary school, and you missed it again in secondary school, and you missed it now after university, you're in crisis with those packages. You have to be at expert level at these points, because many of the things we're going to be asking you to do intelligently, because you have to present yourself, will depend on you being able to express yourself in those packages, okay? So find packages to learn them online. It will help you a long way, okay? All right, Ime.
Thanks, sir.
You may go ahead. Yes.
Okay, good evening. So in the course of today's class, you said something on you must be someone people like. And then, you know, in being likable, you are able to also lead up, like your bosses and not just people below you. What if you find yourself in a situation where you try very hard to be likable, but you just don't get across to your bosses? What do you do then?
Okay, so there's a technique called mirroring. It's called mirroring. To mirror your boss, start watching closely and doing things like your boss. People don't know when they start liking you because they observe themselves in you.
Okay.
So start mirroring people. If you want to start leading people at the top, start mirroring them. Okay? There's a whole book on it. I read a book once that really teaches how to mirror somebody. And I mean, my career has been fantastic. People tell me everywhere I worked that I could get away with murder. I always recommend that things are listened to and done the way I say it should be done.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You understand?
Yes,
my bosses call me in the night, 11, 10 p.m. and tell me their hearts. They pour their hearts to me, the vision, the future. You know why? Because they've seen me as a close-knit, someone they can confide in. And that's where we are. And when I give a report or an assignment, I do a research. I just work on something and send to my boss and say, look, see what I was thinking about when I looked at that strategy we had from that last retreat. When he sees the level of detailed data and analysis I have done, he'll give me thumbs up and say, you solved the big problem for me. So most of the time he asks me before confirming what he's thinking, whether it's right or wrong.
Wrong.
Right?
Okay. Yes, sir.
So try that strategy. It helps. People will always go for whoever mirrors them. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Kingsley. You're muted.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yeah, please, can you please explain the strategic level? When you were talking about it, your audio went off and we couldn't hear you. It was when you were summarizing, you came on again. Please.
Oh, I see. At the strategic level, you are putting together a plan that is not what you are going to do today or this year. It's multi-year plan. And it's not a plan that you are creating by yourself. You take the organization's long-term objectives and goals, and you ask, how do we support these objectives? I'm working with a client today, and I'm working with them to create a strategic facility plan. And I looked at what they call their 10-year roadmap as an organization. It has 5 pillars. One of the pillars is internal capacity development and competence building in the team that is going to roll out all the other strategies. Now, I took that pillar, fleshed it out into strategic goals by facilities department that is going to help them achieve that pillar. What am I doing? I'm creating a long-term plan. That long-term plan will say things like, I'm going to need to have this contracting strategy. I'm not going to have vendors everywhere. I'm going to have one IFM contractor. I'm going to have my team supervise like this, like that. I'm going to have this kind of capital investments in ABC systems, softwares, technology, building upgrades. I'm going to have, and these are things that are high level. But if they are well thought through, carefully analyzed and approved by management, one, funds will be released whenever I need them in the future because I've anchored it. It's been accepted as valid for the organization, right? Then two, every time I create a tactical plan, like there's a new project and I propose the project and I create the project plan, the design and everything, it is not going to be shut down or questioned too much because somebody has already accepted that my strategic plan aligns with the organization's expectation or requirements. So I've already anchored, right? So and then when it gets to the operational time, my funding requirements in the tactical plan, in my budget, which is tactical maintenance plans and project plans, it's already been accepted by the organization. Finance would have locked it into their cash flow. So by the time I'm doing operations, I will not be having issues with money. If you start at operations, you have all kinds of problems. Start at the strategic level and build your way down. Okay? Thank you. Abdul.
Hello. Hi.
Yeah, audio is good.
Yeah. My question is, we're talking about the career path.
Yes.
Yeah. For the FMP exam, do you have classes for it? Do you take people for the exam? Or how is this going to be the only lecture on it? Or you have the class that you take course on, or a course on you going to take course on that?
You know the FMP is IFMA International. It's not a Max-Migold training, right?
Yes.
And because it is IFMA International, I am a qualified instructor. I'm one person that can teach all of the IFMA courses, the FMP, the SFP, the CFM, the FM Learning System, the FM Essentials, right? So as a trainer, I can train. But Max-Migold is not an authorized training center.
Okay.
So I train with the IFMA Nigeria chapter. So if you are going to do the FMP, you sign up with the IFMA Nigeria chapter, they book a class, and they invite me to come and teach on the program.
Okay.
Now, and you get a self-study FMP package, right? Which means you will read on your own.
I didn't get you. You were off. I didn't get you.
Okay. So I can provide you a self-study package of the FMP where you pay for the course. You are sent the login credentials into the learning management system of IFMA International, different from Max-Migold learning management system. And then you go through the course on your own and write the assessments and pass and get a certificate from them. So we don't organize classroom sessions, but we can give you subsidized self-study packages.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Last question, Fakorede. Let's take off your video and see if it will be better. Stop video. Go ahead now. Go ahead.
Briefly about the communication question you wanted to speak about. You already spoke about, because I missed the aspects.
Communication.
Yes, sir. You mentioned a question about communication.
Right now.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
I didn't get what your question was, Fakorede.
Can you recap the communication?
Fakorede. There's one little tip I will need to give all of us on how the GSM networks work. If you're on the ground floor on a multi-story building, you most likely get poor reception. I've experienced it. I even suffer it sometimes in my office because I'm in a two-story duplex, and the data may not be very clear on here. So what I've tried to do is to have an alternative, have a second a router. In this particular case, I have a router upstairs on my in another room up there. and then I can have that pickup, and then I get the signal down here. So I would advise you to have options so that you can always get very strong signals when in this class. I have been struggling to hear Fakorede. I think it's internet related. If you want to try one more time, let's see how it will work. Please speak.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yeah. The question I want to ask, when you are talking about the communication, you mentioned something like questions to be asked or to be known among the people.
Okay. Yes, I understand you now. So
yeah,
you're creating your communications plan. Step one, identify all your stakeholders. For each stakeholder, identify information the stakeholder will need from you, one by one. For that same stakeholder, identify information that you will need from that stakeholder, one by one. And then for every line item of information, whether it's the one you are going to give or the one you are going to receive, you need to define certain parameters. How often? That's frequency. In what format or channel is this information going to be shared? A meeting, a presentation, a report, whatever, right? Other things you want to add in there, like what is the objective of that information? Are there any considerations that you might need to have? Just create a plan around. The key thing is, who are my stakeholders? What information do they need from me? What information do I need to give them? And what do they need to give me? Right? So if I can identify those three things first, for every stakeholder, what they need from me, what I need from them, then my communication plan is ready. Everything else is just to flesh that out line by line. So you can have a proactive plan. So you are the one issuing out what you should issue out when it should be issued out, and following up on what you should receive when it should be received. Because if people ask you questions, it means you are not a good communicator. You don't have a plan. It means that you're not proactive in handling their communication. For example, a question from a building user could already have been answered in a previous communication, or the answer is coming in a scheduled communication. I will ask you a question on Friday when I know that you communicate with me every Monday, and the answer will already be there on Monday. Why would I be stopping you on Friday? I hope you understand what I'm saying. This is the whole idea of communication.
Yeah, I got it, sir.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much. All right, thanks everybody.
Can you take one more question?
Yes, I can. I still have, I can still spare a minute. Go ahead, Faith.
Okay, so please, please be tolerant of my question.
No problem.
All right, and I stand to be corrected. It appears that one of the highest paying jobs in the country, or maybe worldwide, is the job in the IT industry. And they package the justification, however they did it. Oh, the whole sensitive information, and then they shoot them from wherever they were up to the roof. My question is this: who are the regulatory body in this country? Let's focus on Nigeria. That measure who's supposed to be paid higher or highest. Have they gone through courses of facility management that we are going through? Do they know what a facility manager does? In my life, I thought I was a facility manager. That's what I thought. I knew nothing. It's very clear to me now. And I'm even regretting why I have not joined this for, years back. So if you ever find your way there and you join, kindly tell them they need to rethink. The facility manager should be among those who are there.
At the top, right? Yes, I agree.
Not this 3 months they are paying. Okay, let me just let you go.
I agree with you. Thank you, Faith. Okay, so the truth is this: a facility manager's job, once you start doing it right, you get paid very well. I dropped my pen as a salary earner at over 2-point-something million naira per month as salary when money still had value. And the last time I turned down a job was because they were offering me less than 30 million a year. So ladies and gentlemen, get FM right. You will earn even higher than those people you're talking about. It's all about elevating yourself to the strategic level. You know, when we are even collating KPIs for FMs, many FMs don't even know how to value their contribution to the organization. That's why you are here. In 3 months, when you change the way your reporting format works, when you change the way you communicate on your business cases, if the organization you are in does not double your salary, another organization will snap you up. That's the truth. That's the truth. Somebody from my program got an offer for 12 million a year, and I said, don't take it, stay where you are. Because I know what he was able to do where he was. I said, just give yourself a little bit of stability, do 2 years there, and then you're going to move to 15 million. Don't take 12 million, it doesn't make sense right now. This is current, this is FM. In the same industry where I put earning 60,000 a month too, it's no joke. We are all here, 60K, 55K, 40K are in this industry. So let's shoot our way up by working deliberately and moving up strategically, okay? Thank you so much. All right, have a nice evening.
Thank you very much, sir. We're so
All right.
Good evening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Paul.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very inspiring, sir. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
See you guys on Monday.
Mr.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank
you, sir.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night.
Have a wonderful.
Enjoy your
Thank
weekend, sir.
Thank you, sir.